"You'll help me buy a car," my sister declared. "It's what family does." When I said no, Dad messaged, "Refuse and you're dead to us." I smiled, logged into the bank and ended every linked account. By 7:30 a.m. Mom was blowing up my phone. 43 missed calls. There's a line you don't cross even in family. And when someone does, you feel it immediately, like the air shifts and nothing's ever going to be the same again. It happened at my house. A small dinner I cooked to celebrate my first real win in a long time. I'd just gotten a promotion and a bonus, not life-changing money but enough to finally feel like I could breathe. After years of working myself half to death, skipping birthdays, weekends, and even entire holidays just to make ends meet, I'd finally reached a point where things weren't falling apart every month. I thought maybe this dinner would be something normal for once. Me, my parents, and my sister sitting down like a functioning family. I should have known better. She waited until halfway through the meal, right after I'd topped off her wine and was just starting to feel relaxed, and then she dropped it. "You'll help me buy a car." First, I thought it was a joke. The kind of ridiculous thing she'd say for attention. But she wasn't laughing. She had the car picked out. A brand new white SUV, 25 grand, Bluetooth, leather seats, the works. She wanted it in her name but expected me to front the money. She had no job that could support the payments, no plan, no backup. Just the assumption that I'd say yes. As I always did. Last year I spent half my paycheck keeping her afloat. Groceries. Guess. A temporary cell phone bill she never took over. And more than once, my parents had asked for just a little help with rent, electricity, or car repairs. Not one person had paid me back and I never once made it a thing. Thought I was helping. Thought I was being kind. But this crossed a line. I told her no. Not rudely. Just no. I said I'd helped enough. That I was finally in a place where I could build something for myself and wasn't going to throw it away for a car she didn't need and couldn't handle. She looked offended like I just slapped her. And then my father, who had barely said a word all evening, looked up and said, "Refuse and you're dead to us." Like it was a business transaction. Like I was being cut off from a contract. Not a single word from my mom. She sat there staring at her plate like if she ignored it long enough, it wouldn't get worse. I stood up, walked into the kitchen and scraped the rest of the lasagna into the trash. Told them dinner was over. They left. My sister had the audacity to look annoyed like I'd ruined her evening. I didn't say anything after they walked out. No texts. No calls. No long speech. I just sat on the couch with the TV on mute and thought about how far they'd go, how easy it was for them to make me the villain the second I said no. At 6:58 the next morning I logged into my bank account. Everything they had access to, closed. Every shared login. Every card I'd let them use. Every auto payment. Gone. I opened a new account at a different bank. Changed passwords. Removed all recovery options that linked to their numbers. Even swapped my email address just in case. By 7:30 my phone had 38 missed calls. All from my mother. That's how I knew they'd finally realized what I'd done. I didn't pick up a single one of the 38 calls. I watched my phone light up over and over again, buzzing across the table like it was short-circuiting. I didn't silence it either. I wanted to hear it. I wanted to feel the weight of it, the sheer desperation. Not because I wanted to punish my mom. I just wanted to remember what it felt like when the tables turned. When they finally needed something from me that I was never going to give. By 9 a.m. she'd moved to texting. Paragraph after paragraph. Some begging, some guilt-tripping, and some playing innocent. She didn't know what was going on. She just wanted to understand. She said they were all worried. Said I was acting out of character. Said maybe I was tired, overwhelmed, maybe someone had put something in my head. She even said Emily was confused and hurt. I didn't respond. Not a word. By 10:30 the blocked numbers started. I guess they thought I'd fall for that. Like I'd mistake their voices if they caught me off guard. I didn't even bother answering. Around noon I got the email. My father. Subject line, "You've made your point." That was it. 4 words. No greeting. No emotion. Just a few lines telling me to transfer the money for the car before Friday. No apology. No mention of what he said at dinner. No acknowledgement that he'd told his daughter she was dead to him over a car she didn't even want. That was when it hit me. They really believed this was temporary. Like I was throwing a tantrum and once I cooled off, everything would go back to how it was. Like all I needed was time to get over it, and I'd slide right back into their hands with my checkbook out. So I made a list. Not for them. For me. I went through my banking apps, credit card statements, Venmo, PayPal, old texts. Everything. Every dollar I'd sent them over the past 18 months. Every time I said yes. Every time I told myself it was just once more. Every time they promised they'd pay me back and then never brought it up again. Rent. $1,350. Emily's credit card bill. $2,000. Groceries, 3 months straight $1,200. Gas money for Emily, $400. Phone bill, $780. Utilities, $600. Emergency dental work, for Dad $2,500. Girls' day out shopping spree I paid for, and instantly regretted $980. Flights for a trip they insisted we take as a family reset, $3,800. Miscellaneous, random Zelle transfers for Uber, urgent cash and just this once favors, $4,242. Total, $17,852. $17,852. Made me sick. Not just because of the number but because of how fast it added up. All that money, gone into a black hole of entitlement. And not one thank you that felt real. Not one single effort to return anything. And now they wanted a car. That night I sat in silence thinking about what I would have done 6 months ago. I probably would have caved. Told myself it wasn't worth the drama. Bought the damn SUV, paid the down payment, maybe even put it in my name, just until she got on her feet. But not this time. The next day it escalated. I started getting password reset requests. First for my email, then my bank, then Amazon, my Netflix, even my Spotify. It wasn't random. Someone was trying everything they could to get into my accounts. I checked the IP logs. Most of the requests were coming from one place, my parents' house. I stared at the screen for a long time. Part of me hoped I was wrong. Part of me still thought maybe it was some weird coincidence. But deep down I knew exactly what was happening. They weren't just trying to guilt me now, they were trying to force my hand. So I took screenshots of every login attempt. I flagged my bank accounts for fraud. I froze my credit. I added two-factor authentication to everything I'd missed. I bought identity theft protection and called a lawyer friend just to be safe. I wasn't paranoid. I was prepared. By Thursday it all stopped. No more calls. No more texts. Not even blocked numbers. It went completely silent, which somehow felt even worse. And then Saturday morning I found the box. It was sitting on my porch with no return address. Just a small plain cardboard box with my name written in handwriting I recognized instantly. Inside was a photo frame. An old picture from years ago. One of those beach trips we used to take back when we still believed we were a normal family. Me, Emily, Mom and Dad all smiling like nothing was broken. Taped to the back was a handwritten note. Just one line. We can still fix this. Just call. I stared at it for a long time. Then I put the frame back in the box, sealed it shut and dropped it in the trash. The message on the back of that photo said we can still fix this. Like this was a misunderstanding, not a decade-long pattern. Like I was just emotional. Like the damage hadn't been slow and intentional and so consistent that I couldn't remember the last time I'd been around them without bracing for it. Fix what exactly? They never wanted to fix anything. They wanted me quiet again. They wanted their money tapped back on. By Monday morning I could feel something shifting. I walked into the office, dropped my bag at my desk and not 10 minutes later my manager called me into his office. Someone had called HR pretending to be a family member. They asked about my job title, how long I'd been working there, whether I qualified for car financing. Said they were helping with a major purchase. HR flagged it instantly and shut it down, but I didn't even need to ask who it was. No one else would have the audacity. I didn't call them. I didn't message. I didn't accuse anyone. I let them sit in the silence thinking they were in control. That night I opened the list again, the one where I'd written down everything I'd paid for them. I added one line to the top. 10% interest. Monthly. Compounded. Petty. Maybe. But I'd never forced anyone to borrow from me. I just never charged them for it. If they wanted to act like I was a bank, then fine. They could start paying like one. On Wednesday morning I sent a single text in the family group chat. The same one that hadn't seen activity since my last birthday when no one showed up. You owe me $19,637. Full breakdown coming. Payments expected starting next month. I didn't say please. I didn't explain. I didn't wait. The chat exploded. Emily responded first. Caps lock, 7 messages in a row, alternating between shock, sarcasm and straight-up lies. Said I was profiting off her struggles. That I was a fraud for pretending to be generous all this time. That no one in this family ever signed a contract. I didn't reply. 10 minutes later, Dad tried to sound formal, which only made it worse. He sent a screenshot of some article about how gifts are non-refundable under US law. I didn't bother reading it all. He could Google whatever he wanted. My plan didn't need a court case. Just pressure. Then came Mom. One voicemail. Her voice was soft. Quiet. No yelling this time. She said she didn't understand why I was doing this. That families don't keep score. That maybe I was just exhausted and when I felt better we could talk things through. She said the word peace 4 times in under a minute. But I wasn't interested in peace anymore. I was interested in change. Friday morning I sent them the spreadsheet. Every dollar. Every receipt. Rent, bills, credit card payments, emergency transfers, the shopping spree, the dental work, the flights. I itemized it by date, color-coded by person. I added a payment plan section at the bottom and said if I didn't get something by the 1st of next month, I'd start liquidating. A lot of things I bought were still technically mine. Emily's MacBook, in my name, the flat screen in my parents' den. I still had the receipt and the serial number. And as for that car they wanted, I knew the dealership they were talking to. If they dared use my name or info again, I'd shut it down at the source. Saturday morning, a plain white envelope showed up in my mailbox. No note. Just $200 in cash. The first repayment I'd ever gotten from any of them. I logged it. Updated the balance. $19,437 to go. And I was just getting started. The $200 they sent wasn't even close to meaningful, but it was everything I needed to know. They were breaking. It meant someone, maybe my mom, maybe all of them, had started doing the math. Not just the money but the consequences. It meant the silence wasn't peace. It was strategy. They were waiting for me to cool down, to let it go like I always did. But this time they had no idea what was coming. I had no intention of cooling down. That Monday something strange happened. A message popped up on my LinkedIn from someone I hadn't thought about in years. Emily's ex. We never spoke, just the occasional awkward eye contact during family events when he was still around. I almost ignored it. Then I read it. Hey, sorry to bother you. Just thought you should know Emily's been saying some wild stuff about you lately. Told a bunch of people you stole from your parents and they had to cut you off. Not sure what's going on but figured you'd want to know. There was. I felt something cold move through me, not rage, just clarity. It was always going to come to this. She couldn't guilt me anymore, so now she tried to ruin my reputation. Smear me before I got the chance to speak. It was smart, honestly, take the first swing in a new arena. But she underestimated me again. I didn't respond to him right away. I needed to move carefully. I spent the next evening gathering everything. Every screenshot, every transfer, every, "Can you help me just this once?" that I'd answered with money. Even the group chat messages. The time Emily asked me to pay her dental bill so she didn't have to look poor at work. The way Dad borrowed for home repairs but ended up gambling half of it away. Every digital breadcrumb. Then I called Amanda, an old friend of mine from college who'd gone into crisis communications. She worked in corporate PR until she burned out and went freelance. She owed me a favor. I asked her to help me document everything, clean, clear, bulletproof. It took us 5 hours, but by the end of it I had a folder with timestamps, files, audio notes and receipts. All sorted, all factual. No emotion. Just the truth neatly labeled. I uploaded it all to a locked Google Drive. Then I sent the link to exactly 3 people. My HR manager. My direct supervisor. And my mom. The subject line was simple: in case anything ever comes up. I didn't hear anything for the rest of the night. The next morning, my phone started buzzing at 6:41 a.m. It was Mom. I didn't pick up. She called again. Then a text came in, short and sharp. "What did you send them? Emily is in full panic. Please delete everything. This is getting out of control." Exactly the response I wanted. But I hadn't planned for what happened 2 days later. Thursday afternoon I was at home working remotely when I heard a knock at the door. I checked the peephole and there she was. Emily. Alone. She looked tired. Not in a dramatic, makeup smudged kind of way. Just worn down. Her expression wasn't smug or angry. It was weirdly neutral. I opened the door without a word and stepped back. She walked in like she wasn't sure if she'd be kicked out. We sat in silence for almost 2 minutes before she finally said, "I lost my job." That I didn't expect. Apparently she'd been venting about me at work again. This time loud enough for a client to overhear. Someone who knew me vaguely through professional circles. Word got back to management. Her boss gave her the speech about company values and sent her home with a box. She didn't cry. She didn't apologize. Then she looked at me and said something I never thought I'd hear. "Do you think you could get me in where you work?" I stared at her for a long time. She wasn't joking. She really thought after everything she could just slide into a job in my space under my name. It would have been easy to say no. Or to laugh in her face. But something in me twisted. Instead I said, "Hey B." She looked confused. Hopeful. And then I added, "But only if you sign something first." She tilted her head. "What kind of something?" I stood up, walked to my desk drawer and pulled out a folder I'd prepared weeks ago but never thought I'd get to use. A contract. Not a legal weapon, just an agreement. A written acknowledgement of every dollar she owed me with a repayment plan. The condition: no job help, no recommendations, no networking, no favors, unless she signed it. Her face went pale, but she took it. "I'll think about it," she said. I told her there was nothing to think about, just a decision to make. Emily vanished again after she left with the folder. Days passed. No messages. No updates. No mention of the job, the contract, or whether she ever intended to follow through. I didn't chase her. I wasn't going to beg for my own money or for decency. Monday came and went. Then Tuesday. I assumed it was over, that she had shown up out of desperation, said what she thought I wanted to hear, and walked right back into Dad's house to be coddled and defended like always. But that Tuesday night just after 9 the doorbell rang. When I opened the door I wasn't expecting what I saw. It was Emily, my mom. They stood there together on the porch in matching expressions I didn't recognize. Not smug, not pitiful, not angry. Just tired. And real. Emily didn't look like she'd slept in days. Mom's makeup was still on from whatever errand she'd come from, but she looked older all of a sudden, like something inside her had dropped. "We're ready to talk," my mom said. I didn't move. I didn't say anything. But I left the door open. They walked in. Emily sat. Mom didn't. She stood in the center of the living room like she wasn't here to settle, but to present something final. I waited, arms crossed, and still said nothing. "We've talked," she said. "Really talked. And it's clear this isn't just about the money anymore. It's about how long we expected you to carry all of us." I watched her carefully. I wasn't going to get pulled into another speech about family unity or starting fresh. Then Emily said quietly, "I'll sign the contract." I looked at her. She didn't blink. "I got a job. It's part-time at a distribution center. Nothing exciting. But it's mine. I'll start paying you. Every month." Before I could respond, my mom pulled something from her bag. A crumpled paper, half-folded, stained in one corner. He handed it to me. It was the original debt breakdown I'd sent them. But now there were handwritten notes next to every entry. E next to Emily's items. M next to Mom's. And then, to my shock, D next to some of Dad's too. And beside each name was a plan. Amounts. Monthly payment goals. Who would cover what? I flipped it over. 2 signatures were already there. Emily's. My mom's. I looked up at her. "He signed this." She shook her head. "Not yet. But he will. I told him if he doesn't we're done. Me and him. I'm not doing this anymore." I couldn't believe it. My mom, the peacemaker, the excuse maker, was finally drawing a line. I'd never seen her do that. Not once. "I got hired too," she added. "There's a retirement home near the house. They need someone for the front desk a few evenings a week." I said yes. "I haven't worked in years, but I'll figure it out." Emily didn't interrupt. She just sat there still watching me with a look I couldn't name. Not quite shame. Not quite regret. But something that looked a lot like understanding. I nodded slowly, holding the paper. "I'll send a revised contract. Proper terms. Legal." Mom nodded. "We'll sign." They stood to leave, but before they reached the door I asked one thing. The one thing I'd been holding in for months. "Why now?" Emily glanced at Mom, then looked down. Mom didn't hesitate. "Because this is the first time you didn't bend." Then they left. I sat there for a while just staring at the paper. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel like I'd won. I felt calm. For the first time in years. The next day I sent them the revised contract. Emily signed within the hour. So did Mom. Dad's signature showed up that night. Attached. One line in the email. "Fine." I opened the document and stared at it. 3 names. 3 promises. I didn't know how long they'd stick to it. I didn't know if any of it would hold. But I knew this. I wasn't the family ATM anymore. I was the one holding the pen. I didn't touch the signed contract for 2 days. It sat on my desk like a trophy and a warning all at once. Proof that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't overreacting, and that I hadn't imagined the years of being used like a credit card with no limit. They had finally signed. That was supposed to be the end of the fight. But it wasn't. Because the payments started and they weren't what I expected. Emily sent $60. Not a penny more, but not late either. The transfer came with a short message in the notes. "Payment 1. Thank you." I didn't respond. That wasn't part of the deal. My mom dropped off cash. Literally, an envelope slipped through the mail slot, no name, no message, just $40 folded and banded with a hair tie. The handwriting on the outside was hers, but she didn't want to sign it. I guess even now she didn't want to make it feel too formal. And my dad, he waited until the deadline day, 11:57 p.m., then transferred $100 with a subject line that read, Happy now. I almost laughed when I saw it. Not because it was funny but because it was just so perfectly him. But even with the petty comments and the weak amounts, the fact remained. They paid. All three. And then they paid again the next month. And again. The amounts didn't always match, but the habit was forming. That alone was something I never thought I'd live to see. Then came the unexpected part. Emily called. At first I didn't answer. She called again the next day. And then the third time I picked up. Her voice wasn't frantic. She wasn't asking for anything. She said she was still working the warehouse desk job. It was boring and the hours sucked, but the checks cleared. She told me she'd been looking at taking a community college course. Basic accounting. Something stable. Something real. She said she wasn't asking for help, that she just wanted me to know. I think I want something that's mine, she said. Not just things people give me. I didn't know what to say to that. So I said nothing. But I didn't hang up either. Then a few days later I got a text from my mom. Just a picture of her sitting behind a small desk, probably at the retirement home. She had a name tag clipped to her blouse and a paper cup of coffee next to her. She looked tired. But she looked proud. No words. Just the photo. Then last Saturday it happened. My dad called. Not a transfer. Not a passive-aggressive text. An actual phone call. I didn't answer the first time. I let it go to voicemail. Then I listened. His message was short. I know I've been an ass. You want talk? No agenda. Just talk. I don't know why I called him back, but I did. We met at a diner near my apartment. Middle of the afternoon, place was half empty. He looked older than I remembered. Or maybe I just stopped looking at him the same way. He didn't start with an apology. He started with this: I hated signing that contract. Felt like I was admitting we failed you. I waited. Then he added, but I think losing you would have been worse. That was the closest thing to accountability I'd ever gotten from him. He didn't try to flip it. Didn't try to make himself the victim. He just sat there quiet for a long time, then asked me about work. About my apartment. About whether I'd ever thought about moving out of the city. It was small talk. But it was the kind I never used to get from him. The kind that comes when someone realizes they might have to earn a spot in your life again. We didn't hug. We didn't cry. I paid for my own coffee. That night I got the next round of payments from all three of them. Early this time. No notes. No sarcasm. Just numbers. I checked my spreadsheet. Updated the balance. It's still not about the money. Not anymore. It's about what it costs them to understand that I'm not something they can spend. That love, loyalty, support, they all come with terms now. Not cruel ones. Just fair. They finally realized something I'd known for years. If they wanted to keep me in their lives, they'd have to start earning it. And this time I was keeping the receipts. Sometimes late at night I still think about that dinner, the moment it all cracked open. Not because I miss them the way they used to be, but because I wonder how long I would have let it go on if she hadn't demanded that car. It's strange how one ridiculous request was what finally woke me up. Now, every month when the payments hit, I don't feel smug or victorious. I feel grounded. Like I finally climbed out of a hole I didn't even know I'd been living in. They're rebuilding and I'm rebuilding too, separately. For once, it's not about holding things together. It's about letting them stay broken until someone decides to pick up their own pieces.